This is all very exciting. This is only the third time this year in 2026 I'm actually able to get out with the camera. The weather has been appalling. Anyway, today's the day. So I'm going to pop my camera in the camera bag and we're going to head down to the beach so I can talk to you about how I get the best and sharpest possible images I can using something called a confidence stack. Right, off we go and I'll tell you more. So before I get into confidence stack, let me give you a little bit of background to the way I manage my photography, and in particular my camera. So during the last year, probably about 18 months actually, I've been shooting with just one lens, one zoom lens. It's a 24 to 105 Sony G lens with optical stabilization, of course. And that's on my Sony Alpha 7 R4 camera. Now I got pretty fed up with carrying lots and lots of gear, so this was my sort of first step towards a confidence stack, was that sort of realization. And I did a video about it actually, which I'll post a link up here or here, certainly at the end of the video anyway. And where I discussed and talked about my decision just to shoot with one lens. And throughout last year, throughout 2025, I managed to shoot with just one lens, apart from a trip to Italy when I used a G9, and I think it was a 20 to 42 zoom lens on that. Anyway, so for most of my photography, this is the camera and lens that I've been using. And as I evolved throughout 2025, I began to realize that I was using my camera in a different way from the way I had done for years before. And one of the first steps was actually settling on the idea of using auto ISO. Previously, like many people, I thought, I've always got to use the native ISO 100 in my camera. And when I was looking at some information, I realized that actually I could use up to 320, ISO 320, to get the same dynamic range. Which then led me to the thought, do I actually need to worry about ISO at all? Which of course evolved into my thinking about shutter speed and aperture. Now, I'm actually summarizing weeks and weeks, if not months, of evolution. So eventually I realized if I set my camera on auto ISO, I could start using shutter speed and aperture more creatively. I didn't have to use them in conjunction with ISO 100, which I realized had become very restrictive. It was stopping me getting shots that I might otherwise get. For example, in low light in the evenings or early mornings. Or it might be that I need a really fast shutter speed to capture some oyster catchers, which I've actually seen flying around this morning, so I'm hoping to get a few shots of those a little later. I ended up looking at my camera settings and in an entirely different way. Released from worrying about ISO by using auto ISO, I realized that I could use my shutter speed to manage motion, to control motion. So I could use a low shutter speed, say 1/15 of a second, and capture some movement in the waves. Or I could use 1/1000th of a second, 2,000th of a second to capture birds in flight. I didn't have to worry about ISO. I knew I could capture what I wanted. And with aperture, I started to think about it more in terms of the depth of field rather than it being part of an exposure triangle. So I could think about, well, if I'm on f8, then I'm going to get most of the shot in focus. If I'm on f11, I'm going to get virtually all of the image in focus and sharp. But I could create some blur with f4, depending on focal length, of course, which brings me neatly to focal length. And I did a whole video about field of view and focal length, and you can catch up by that on my channel homepage. I'll put a link up here somewhere. Now, my thinking about focal length is not so much to do with sort of zooming closer to a subject or further away from a subject. It's more about the idea of compression. So I could use focal length to bring those far objects closer to me and those far objects further away from me, depending on where my subject was and how it balanced the whole composition. So there's quite a few little snippets, foods for thought, if you like, about your own photography. And the final thing I would say is that I now use auto white balance on the camera. So the only things I actually need to think about are shutter speed and aperture. And those are more creative thoughts and adjustments rather than worrying about exposure. So for the moment, I'll just leave you with those thoughts and we'll move on to the next bit when I want to talk about my camera settings, my actual confidence stack. What an amazing view you're getting across the bay to a little village called Polkeris. And there's Griven Head in the distance. The sun's beginning to break through, it's getting nice and bright. So my next thing is, why have a confidence stack? And for me, I like to be able to shoot almost instinctively. I like to be able to see a composition, take the shot. It enables me to wander around the landscape, whether it be the beach, the woodlands, the moors we have in Cornwall and so on, all sorts of environments. I don't have to worry about setting up a tripod. I know that my camera is set, ready to go, whatever happens. Just to give you an example of that, I was at a beach across the bay here called Booley Beach, one of my favourite places, if you've seen any of my videos before. And I was taking some shots of some rocks just as the tide was receding. And I was trying to get that sort of lovely feathered shape or feathered texture that you get in the water as it recedes down the beach across the sand. And I heard a little click behind me, turned round, and because I could immediately grab a setting, I was able to get the shot of the landslip as it happened. All the land was falling away behind me. I was perfectly safe. It was about 50 meters away, so I was perfectly safe. But I'd never have got that shot had I had a tripod, had I not had my confidence stack ready to go. And the second reason why a confidence stack is important for my photography, and it might be for you, is that there are only two settings I need to change, and they're both based on creativity. They're not based on having to get a correct exposure. I can see a composition, I know my camera's already set up to go, a minor adjustment here and there, job done, shot taken. So I think those are really two very important factors about why you might have a confidence stack. What is my confidence stack? Well, my settings for my confidence stack suit me. They may suit you as well, so you're very welcome to copy them, but they suit me. I think it's more important to understand is the principle that if you have your confidence stack, you can free yourself of lots of excess gear and just take the shots as and when you see them. Perhaps with a few minor adjustments, of course. I've just noticed actually that my camera's being wobbled about a little bit, so apologies if that's happening, and you can see that on screen. So on my camera I have three modes that I can use, mode 1, 2 and 3, where I can store settings. I think mode is the right word to use. Anyway, you'll understand what I mean, I'm sure. So in mode 1 is my basic. I use a shutter speed of 1/125th of a second. So 1/125th of a second. I use an aperture of f8. My ISO is always set on auto. I'm not sure if you can actually see it on screen, but I'll put something up so you can. And I use auto white balance. So that's my setting number 1. My setting number 2 is slightly different because I use number 2 for capturing wildlife. And I've just taken some shots of some oyster catchers and I use setting number 2. And for setting number 2, I've got a shutter speed of 1/1000th of a second, f8 again, auto ISO and auto white balance. But I've also got set multi-shot. So you can press the shutter and take a number of frames all in one hit. And my setting number 3 is slightly different again. I've gone back to my basic 1/125th of a second shutter speed, f8 aperture, auto ISO and auto white balance. And by the way, I always use auto white balance. It's not necessarily the most accurate thing in the world, but it's something I can change so easily in Photolab 9. So auto white balance it is. Actually with the camera, the Sony camera, it's usually fairly accurate. So with my setting number 3, I've set this for exposure bracketing. So just to repeat, shutter speed 1/125th of a second, f8, auto ISO, auto white balance, and exposure bracketing, which I've set at around 2/3 of a stop, 5 shots, so I can get a really good dynamic range for any particular shot I want to take. And that's it. So, as I've said before, it's just about setting up basic settings for the type of photography that you do. Now I shoot landscapes, mainly beaches as you've seen before, but landscapes, and those settings suit me absolutely fine. Sun's coming out, fantastic, isn't that brilliant? So those settings suit me absolutely fine. But you may have different settings which are great for you. But as I said before, set these up so you've got your own confidence stack. So you know when you pick up your camera, you can get the shot. You might have to make 1 or 2 tweaks to shutter speed and aperture, but you know you can get the shot. Time for coffee. What a glorious morning. It's breezy, it's bright. Some of the light earlier was absolutely spectacular. And I managed to get a few shots, which I'll show you. They'll come up on the screen very shortly. Anyway, I just thought I'd take a few minutes to really sort of have a chat with you about the idea of a confidence stack. I agree, it's not for everyone. And it really does depend on the type of photography or the style of photography that you enjoy and like to do. But if you're like me, that you're trying to make use of a really good quality camera that you don't want to change for something that may be lighter and so on, but you still want to enjoy your photography, you still want to get the most out of your photography. And I discovered, as you've probably seen before, a long time ago, that you really don't need huge amounts of kit and gear to lug it around in the off chance of needing it to get a particular shot. So often I see photographers on YouTube with massive great tripods, and they'll expound the virtues of tripods and the sorts of things that they can do. But for my photography, I need more versatility, I need more flexibility, I need to be able to move. The idea of sort of standing there for hours and hours with a tripod just doesn't appeal to me at all. I like to go for a real nice lightweight setup. Camera, lens, spare battery, some cloths to keep the lens clean and dry, and I'm pretty much done. I'm pretty much there. I do carry quite a big bag, big camera bag, sometimes to put my waterproofs in, which tend to take up a lot of space, but also to carry a lot of video gear, so that I can bring these videos to you guys. Can't escape that. If I had my way, I'd have a really small bag that had my camera in it, a spare battery, some cloths, that's it, job done. I can spend hours out on location getting the shots that I want. So I hope that's been helpful. I hope you found the video interesting and it's given you food for thought. I've really enjoyed making it. It's been so good to get out, bearing in mind the weather that we've been having here in Cornwall in the UK in recent weeks and months. Too many storms, not enough time outside. Whatever your age, enjoy yourself. Have fun with your photography. That's what it's all about. So for now, until next time, bye.